join me on the adventure, and welcome to the Mysterious Adventures Podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Owygen. Mysterious Adventures is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It is always a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today here on Mysterious Adventures. As well, we're diving into Thanksgiving week. I would like to apologize to all of you for being so, limited in the release of this show the past several weeks. Going back into like the late summer, things slowed down around my birthday. As the schedule just seemed to get busier and busier, of course, getting a promotion at work and the other job still looming as it does. Eventually, I'll be down to one regular working job, and then I can concentrate more on the podcasting rather than just being overwhelmed, especially since the start of the month of November and into late October as well. Getting jury duty for a couple of days and getting caught up a bit, with the the other job, and then all of a sudden the lawn cleanup season starts up in November, at the beginning of November, so that was definitely a huge thing. At the time I'm recording this small introduction segment here on Mysterious Adventures, obviously, is the cleanups are not completely done yet, unfortunately, but we're right here at the beginning of Thanksgiving week, which is very exciting. It's one of my favorite holidays of the year. It's a top 2 holiday definitely of the year. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter's way up there. Love that one so much. Not a huge Halloween guy, but thought I would get into the real Count Dracula just a few weeks ago. So luckily I did get caught up a little bit, did get a couple of episodes in, but not really so mysterious adventure-y, I suppose, unfortunately. Deeping delve into kind of the cryptoid world, which was actually, that was great, getting the Bigfoot episode. Hope you liked that one. The Dracula episode actually did a little bit better, and I kind of figured it might, because we're talking about the real Dracula there, Vlad Tepes. So do check out those episodes if you haven't yet. Of course, plenty of good episodes that haven't, if you haven't listened to them, if you're maybe new to the show, and you're just happened upon it right now. But on this episode, we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving. We're going to celebrate Thanksgiving with going way back to 1585. The Roanoke colony, the first Pilgrims, you could say. The first settlement before the Pilgrims in 1620, there were people that jumped on board in a Roanoke colony. They created Roanoke colony in 1585, and you'll hear all about it. Coming from a Freedom of Thought episode I actually recorded a year ago. I may delve deeper into that particular thing on Freedom of Thought on a later day, because it's a fascinating story, and the mysterious thought of that's where the mysterious adventure thing comes in as to what happened to those people. They mysteriously disappeared, and all kinds of conversation there. I won't let the cat out of the bag too much. So yes, this is from a Freedom of Thought episode, but after this, once I get done with the lawn cleanup work and all of that, we'll be delving deeper into AI. Definitely have a lot of conversations to talk about that. That should be in the next episode, some more AI conversations, just to kind of building that one up. And again, would like to get some guests on here someday, which would be fantastic. I think it'll make a huge difference for the show. With all of that said, I'll quit flapping my gums in this introduction and let you, get to the point here. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving, and welcome to the Thanksgiving special for Freedom of Thought, the annual Thanksgiving special 2024 edition, where we celebrate America, we celebrate the Native Americans that helped the original Pilgrims to get started. Well, not the original ones, this is what we're going to get to today, but, the original ones that were able to stick around. We'll say they're able to stick around and be Pilgrims in 1620 and beyond, onto the first Thanksgiving in 1621. So yes, thank you to all the sacrifice made on both sides. And of course, recognition that when people say that the Pilgrims backstabbed the Native Americans, No, the descendants may have, or newcomers later on may have backstabbed some of the Native Americans, and that's terrible and that sucks. Obviously, some of the Native Americans did not want us here as well, like different tribes. It depends on the tribe and what took place and all of that. There was definitely bad blood back and forth in the future, but that's unfortunate and that's a reality. But today we're going to look at something semi-different here, a little different, a little bit before the Pilgrims. There was a lost colony, the Roanoke colony. Blanking on if I may have hinted at this before on previous episodes, and I may do a longer episode on this in the future. But in a lot of ways, the Pilgrims had a lot to be thankful for this alone, because what happened to them? What happened to the first colony? So extremely sad how a lot of people just kind of disappeared. What actually happened to them is really hard to say. In 1587, 117 English men, women, and children arrived in Roanoke Island to establish the first permanent English settlement in the New World. 1587, not 1620. These people could have been their parents, maybe even grandparents of the Pilgrims. In fact, I'd say about that. This is about 33 years before. So think about that, 33 years earlier. So yeah, it could be parents or grandparents, possibly that came. Again, 117. The group included John White, his pregnant daughter Eleanor Dare, her husband Ananias Dare, and the Indian chief Manteo, gotta like that. John White left for England to request supplies and manpower, promising to return. In 1590, White returned to Roanoke Island to find the settlement deserted, plundered, and surrounded by overgrown brush. There was a carving. The only signs pointing to an explanation were the word Croatoan, Croatoan, carved into a palisade, and the letters CRO carved into a nearby tree. Isn't that weird? So the mystery of what happened to the colonists remains unsolved nearly 450 years later. Yeah, absolutely crazy. So there were all kinds of rumors later on saying when other people would come to kind of look and search and what's going on, there'd be, you'd see Native American tribes, and occasionally you'd see what appears to be somebody of lighter skin wearing tattered European clothing. So supposedly some of them may have joined the tribes because, well, it was like join us or die, possibly, something along those lines. Other people may have ran away. So very fascinating to think about. So again, it's like the colony disappeared. Everything changed. People either ran away, people either were killed, or they kind of secretly joined the tribes just to kind of save themselves and figure, okay, I guess this is how it's going to have to be. And that may have been what took place. But there were, again, rumors of lighter-skinned people among the tribes wearing what appeared to be tattered British or European clothing. So isn't that fascinating? Again, it's just crazy to think about. Again, citing Wikipedia for some of this information. Roanoke colony, again, founded in 1585, but was visited by a ship in 1590. Colonists, not columnists, had inexplicably disappeared, and it has been known as the Lost Colony, and the fate of 112 to 121 colonists remain unknown. Pardon me. I keep saying columnists, like somebody that writes. This is, of course, in North Carolina on the outer tip, because, well, they didn't have time to explore much. And it was kind of like they stayed by the ocean there. It's extremely fascinating. 1590. And again, obviously, John White survived. He went there and then came back. They needed more supplies. They needed more help. And things took way too long. It took 3 years instead of maybe a couple months or something. And everybody's missing. It's just the strangest thing. So it's a fascinating mystery that a lot of us would like to know what the heck happened. There was the governor, Ralph Lane, 1585 to 1586. So there were already some people there. John White was the governor in 1587. Fascinating. Established in 1585, evacuated in 1586, reestablished. So it was evacuated and then reestablished in 1587 and then found abandoned in 1590. 400 years before Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie came out. Yeah, I know, that's real important, right? But no, think about 1990. Those of you that are old enough to remember 1990, that's 400 years before that. Dare County, North Carolina, U.S. It's still there, of course. So fascinating. The fate of the approximately 112 to 121 colonists remains unknown. Speculation that they had assimilated with the nearby Native American communities appears in writings as early as 1605. 1605. Investigations by the Jamestown colonists produced reports that the Roanoke settlers had been massacred, and there were stories of people with, yep, there it is, European features being seen in the Native American villages, but no conclusive evidence was found. So it's like maybe yes, maybe no. I'm guessing it was kind of a mix of all the above. Some people were killed, some people joined the Native American communities, all the different tribes. Yep. So it was a definitely strange situation for all of them, and this is something I didn't even know about not that long ago. Another great podcast, I believe this was a Dusty Tome. It was like a series of Dusty Tomes on Haunted Cosmos. And it's just, you absolutely love that podcast. And it's like, the Lost Colony? There were people before the Pilgrims, weren't there? Like, like British, like, it was like Pilgrims before the Pilgrims. It's really cool. And of course, there were people here before that. And, you had the Vikings way back in like 1000 AD around there. They came supposedly via Lake Superior from the Atlantic Ocean and all that, because everything connects and all that. That's where you have Minnesota Vikings. So pretty fascinating when you think about that. And that's like 1,000 years ago. Like the Vikings were way, 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 way back. And then there's also obviously the Native Americans when they came supposedly from the area where Russia and China connect. That's the conversation that's out there. And that's why Native Americans kind of look like Asians sometimes. Like, and I don't mean this in any type of I don't mean this in any negative way at all. Of course not. Like, I'm not pointing fingers. Oh, they look like this. They look like that. They look kind of like Asians, and that's because talk is that they are, they are, or they were many years ago originally. But it's like a mix of like Russia and China together, because the border, that's a very empty area nowadays. Maybe in the past there was a number of people there, and they kind of quietly or kind of slowly left. They kind of started exploring, wound up in Alaska, and then worked their way down into what today is the United States, North America, Canada, and even some going as far as South America as well. Where you could get maybe what they call the Aztec Indians. Imagine that's a lot of traveling, and it probably took a lot of years and years and years to do. But I mean, over the course of hundreds of years, things can definitely happen over the course of time, and also evidence of things going back even further. So, things going, and evidence of beings we'll call them, that were here before the Native Americans, way before possibly. So really fascinating, like giants and such. So like in North America, South America, and above, like giant pyramids and such. So I'm kind of going down rabbit holes, and I apologize, but this is kind of what freedom of thought is all about. When you get into something like this, like the Lost Colony, it really makes your mind wander. It really does, and that's why this show is called Freedom of Thought. It's just freedom of thought right here. This is what it's all about. And this is why I always encourage people to call in. Maybe you want a topic you'd like to get into, something similar to this that maybe I haven't talked about yet, and maybe a lot of us don't know. Maybe you're interested in, maybe you had a paranormal experience or 2 or 3 or 4. You're more than welcome to come on my show. Just email me at palladinolive@yahoo.com. It's in the show description. Also now, there's a TikTok. I guess it's it's palladino.live. Eventually it's going to be Palladino Live, but it'll be the same account. I accidentally put the dot in. Like, the TikTok account used to be joey.awajan, but I decided let's make it Palladino Live Productions. So, yeah, there's that. That's kind of where all my podcasts can be linked to that one TikTok account, so I can finally maybe get something going, get this show out there some more, which would be nice, because I don't know, this show needs some more momentum. It needs people to share it, and I need some guests on the show on occasion too, and I'd love to have you. You got any type of experience, or just like a long phone call. Simply use your smart device if you just want to go around that direction, like Gerald did a while back. It was about a 17-minute call, and it was awesome, where he talked about talked about the whole GMO foods and such in the farming industry, and kind of defending things a bit where there may be a bad rap on certain things, and at the end of the day. So, yeah, I'll listen back to that show if you want to listen to it. Obviously, Keep America Healthy. Keep America Healthy. Yep. But yeah, all kinds of topics we can get into, stuff like that. Obviously, things like this, mysteries like this, the Lost Colony, because they were real people. This is not a myth. This really happened, and people disappeared, and we don't know. They may have been massacred, but I think it was a mix. I think, yeah, and it's probably the most fascinating thing of all. See, like massacred is like the sad, crappy ending, and it sucks. Like they're all dead, they're all killed, and that's depressing. Like what the heck? Like why did that happen in the first place? I don't know. Did somebody start some kind of fight with the Native Americans, and they said, "All right, you SOBs, you're done," or God only knows what really happened. But the fascinating part of the whole story is like the possibility of European features being seen in Native American villages, but no conclusive evidence was found. So it's really interesting, man. And you know how those generations would have disappeared. Obviously, they're not. People don't live forever. Obviously, maybe they didn't live long lives after that because things were changed so much. It was probably just completely different. Kind of scary environment a little bit. Things just not the same. You're not living with your family anymore, or maybe some of you are, but I don't know. And again, people just don't live forever. And once they were gone, that was it. There was just Native Americans again until the Pilgrims came in 1620 on the Mayflower, which they again used part of that wood to build, to build houses and such in the original colony. Well, yeah, the original colony that stuck. Not the original colony, but the one that actually stuck. The first one that stuck around and wasn't lost long ago in North Carolina. So it's interesting. Like the first Pilgrims basically came to North Carolina, and well, the original the Pilgrims of 1620 wanted to go to Virginia, where it would have been a little bit warmer climate, and they kind of got with the wind and the storm and the rough weather, they basically were taken off course to Massachusetts, where it's a lot tougher climate in the winter. Massachusetts gets tons and tons and tons of snow because of the lake effect to the northwest of them a bit, where you have Lake Ontario, I believe. Lake Erie and Lake Ontario are nearby. Boston, like Massachusetts area, they get absolutely nailed with snow in the winter at times because of lake effect snow. Sometimes I don't even know how that works, other than I guess it's just some kind of a moisture coming from the lake, and then it just creates an incredible perfect storm with, say, like a northeaster wind, and then or a nor'wester, whatever the heck it would be, and it's really something. It's just boom. It's a huge, heavy accumulation of snow. Whereas in Roanoke, I'm sure the temperatures dip a bit during the winter months, but nothing like like Massachusetts. Now, it's not cold as it is up here in Minnesota, and there's always been mysteries. How did Native Americans survive in like below zero and such? How did they do all that? But I suppose they had so many methods of survival. Obviously, having a fire in the middle of the teepee and the smoke being able to go up straight out of the teepee. It's fascinating. They're obviously extremely intelligent people. And obviously some tribes were better than others. Some were peaceful. Some were very mean. Some were like, get the hell out of here, we'll kill you. Pardon my French. And it was probably worse than that. They just killed. And they did it to other Native Americans as well. Where other tribes were peaceful. So again, it's nothing against one group or another group. Other backgrounds as well. Yeah, so this was the Elizabethan era. So the first Queen Elizabeth, the other one that lived forever. So this is like Elizabethan era 2. It ended in 2022 when Queen Elizabeth passed away, and King Charles took over the throne in England. So yeah, it was Queen Elizabeth at the time. Queen Elizabeth I in 1578 granted a charter to Sir Humphrey Gilbert to explore and colonize territories unclaimed by Christian kingdoms. Okay. Gilbert had helped to crush the first of the Desmond rebellions in Ireland's Munster province in the 1570s. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, it kind of goes all over the place. Yeah, all kinds of crazy stuff that took place. This is obviously before all of that. Man, Yeah, it's really interesting. This obviously goes before all these when the lost colony wasn't the lost colony, it was like a new colony in Roanoke, North Carolina. But unfortunately, Roanoke Island, or yeah, unfortunately though, obviously everything got everything everything disappeared, and it's a giant mystery what took place. But I think it's a combination of things, truly. There was also a colony in Virginia. Yep, huh. Yeah, because I know there had to have been some, because they talked about Virginia when it came to the 1620 Pilgrims. It's fascinating. Yep. Queen Elizabeth was impressed with the results. Okay, let's go back. Man, this is really something. Yep, so I'm just kind of jumping in the middle here. Upon their return, these would be some of these explorers, returned to England in the autumn of 1584. Amadis and Barlow spoke highly of the tribe's hospitality. Okay, see how some of them are hospitality, pardon me, and the strategic location of Roanoke. They brought back 2 natives, one chief, a Sectoan, and Manteo. Yeah, so he was part of that group that came with that came in 1587. Manteo, a Croatan, whose mother was the chieftain of Croatan Island. The expedition's reports described the region as a pleasant and bountiful land, alluding to the Golden Age and the Garden of Eden. Wow, it must have been really nice there. It must have been really interesting to see it back then compared to today. Like today, it's just, whatever. It's North Carolina. But it must have been really interesting in that particular area. Although these accounts may have been embellished by Raleigh. And that's where the name Raleigh comes from. This is a person way back, obviously, way, way back, when you talk about Raleigh, North Carolina. Queen Elizabeth was impressed with the results of Raleigh's expedition in 1585 during a ceremony to knight Raleigh. She proclaimed the land granted to him Virginia and proclaimed him Knight Lord and Governor of Virginia. Sir Walter Raleigh proceeded to seek investors to fund a colony. Interesting. Isn't that cool? So there was Lane Colony. Okay, that's when it went from, Virginia. The first, Lane Colony. For the first colony in Virginia, Raleigh planned a large military operation focused on the exploration and evaluation of natural resources. The intended number of colonists was 69, but approximately 600 men were sent in the voyage, and about half intended to remain in the colony, to be followed by a second wave later. Ralph Lane, so there's Lane Colony, was appointed governor of the colony, and Philip Amadis would serve as admiral, although the fleet commander, Sir Richard Grenville, led the overall mission. Excuse me. Civilian attendants included Joachim Gans, metallurgist, interesting, Thomas Harriot, a scientist, and John White, an artist. John White, there he is. Manteo and Wenches, returning home from their visit to England, were also passengers in the voyage. So that's Lane Colony. Huh. Interesting. And then eventually led later on. So, into the next couple of years, like 84 or 85. This is 1500s, by the way, when I say 84 and 85. So, wow. Yep, it's really cool. And again, it's cool to hear about these original colonies because we don't hear about too much. And, because we all think about, Massachusetts with, Miles Standish. Obviously, you could call him the soldier, Miles Standish. He was like the leader of the, like the small army, you could say, that kind of to protect the people and such. You had William Bradford, of course. He ended up being like the first governor. I believe he was like more of a pastor as well. So pretty cool. William Bradford. Yep, some amazing people later on in 1620. And I mentioned this on Purple Mafia as well. My heritage when it comes to my mom and dad obviously are completely different. From my dad's side, I'm the first generation in the United States, or to be born in the United States, from Lebanon. But from my mom's side, I am the 12th generation in the United States, or, whatever this is, New England, whatever, 12th generation from Simon Willard, starting in 1635, when people like William Bradford and others were still very much alive in 1635 in Massachusetts. So he probably met those people and interacted with them, and apparently a very large Christian, originating from Kent in England. Kent, that's like a region in England, Kent, like Kent Herbeck, the former Minnesota Twin first baseman, and Kent, whatever. Yeah, obviously there's people get hops from Kent apparently for like beers like Sam Adams and such in Massachusetts. See, so it's all kind of fascinating what all kind of comes together. Yeah, so it's interesting that my generations on my mom's side go back that far to 1635. So otherwise, my dad arrived here in 1963, the day John F. Kennedy was assassinated. 11/22/63, pardon me. So absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yep. So kind of, again, wandering all over the place, but that's kind of how this episode is going to be today. And we have a lot to be thankful for. We have a lot to be thankful for, that we have a roof over our head, that we don't have, well, except when crazy stuff happens, but no, very rarely. With the Lord's protection, we're not going to have people looking to massacre us or force us to join their tribe or anything like that at this stage. Though, yes, I do understand that there were some very evil people that treated the Native Americans very poorly. There were, obviously. Cherokee, the Trail of Tears, obviously there's even a song about that from Europe. That's 1980. Yeah, it was a 1986 album by the band Europe. Cherokee marching on the Trail of Tears. It's a terrible story. Terrible. That was during the Andrew Jackson presidency. Yeah, obviously that's something to look up. We may have an episode about that someday. So, yes, that's bad. It's bad. That was one of the worst things that a president could do. And, I don't know, forcing people to move away like thousands of miles, that's messed up. Hundreds to thousands of miles, that's crazy. Really, I can't believe they even did that. That's it breaks your heart. It does. And it's too bad, because a lot of us, all these generations later, there's all this animosity and all that, that wouldn't have existed if things like that hadn't taken place, and it's a damn shame. Obviously, slavery is another thing, another topic that's, well, similar, but in terms of animosity and such, different story, completely different story, but yeah, animosity that didn't need to happen. It just didn't. So it's a shame, but unfortunately, slavery still exists all over the world, if you can believe it. Yeah. So anyhow, we'll leave that where that is. But again, we do have a lot to be thankful for. We thank God so much for having us in this free country. We thank God for, obviously, Donald J. Trump returning to office, God willing, in mid to late January, coming up, January 20th. We absolutely thank God for that. We thank God that Trump's life was not taken from him on July 13th. Absolutely thank God for that. That's a big thing, that Trump's life was spared in a situation where it was like maybe a centimeter difference, a slight turn of the head, as Trump was looking at a chart. Like, if you think this is sad, and then silent, you hear pop, pop, pop. Wow. Yeah, it's chilling. And again, the fascinating thing that I played a couple times, where Mac Hammond was texted by Kenneth Copeland, of all people, about the blood on the ear. It's like, yep, you're getting prepared for an assignment from God. So pretty amazing how all that added up together. It's like, Trump is getting elected, dang it. And he did. So thank you. Thank you, Lord, for all of that. And it sounds like Trump became a bigger and bigger and bigger believer, especially after that. And he should have been. He should always be a believer. But, we all have our pluses and minuses. We all have our flaws. And there isn't a single leader on this planet, going back to Adam to today, that didn't have flaws. We all have sins, and we all need to, confess our sins before God and repent and do our best. But not walk around like we're perfect, like we never sin. Of course we sin. Like, the second you say, I don't sin, or I can't remember the last time I sinned, you just sinned. You know why? Because you just lied. You just lied. or conveniently misremembered, if such a thing exists. But I just, this show is all over the place once again, and oftentimes that's where freedom of thought goes. It's all over the place, but that's kind of the fun of it. Thanksgiving is a very, very, very special holiday that I enjoy very much, and I hope you enjoy it very much as well. It's extremely important. It's the only holiday that I have never worked on. Like when I worked at the gas station, I believe I've brought this up before. Gas stations are open 365 days a year, unfortunately, just like airports, which is, it sucks. Nobody wants to do that, right? But it's open all the time. Some people want that overtime so bad and da-da-da, or they don't care about this particular holiday or that particular holiday. Well, believe it or not, I had worked Christmas once at the gas station. I had worked July 4th a couple times. Unfortunately, that was annoying, but it's how it goes. Usually it was in the morning, though, so it's not too bad. With the lawn service, always had to work on July 4th unless it was Saturday or Sunday. So there's that. Memorial, Labor Day, those are both Mondays, always doing lawns, even if I'm off of regular work and this and that. Easter, I'd worked a couple times at the gas station. I think I did once or twice at the gas station on Easter. Pretty sure, at least once or twice. It wasn't very that might be the other one, but that's in some ways it's like my second favorite holiday, or one of the most underrated ones of the year. So we'll talk about Easter when the time comes, because it's exciting as you're heading into spring. Yeah, we'll talk about more about that. But it's like, yeah, I'd work every single holiday to get to the point now that I've babbled forever. The only holiday I haven't worked on, other than helping around helping my parents and such at the house, because that's where we go usually, is helping there, is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is the only holiday I've never cut grass or da-da-da. Obviously, usually you hope that we're done, but oftentimes we did have to work on Black Friday and beyond. But yeah, never worked on Thanksgiving once in my life, and I don't plan on it. Other than doing podcasts, of course, like this. But this is kind of like a more of a hobby type of a job. This is more fun. So I guess it's kind of like working, like doing this and Brave the Wild every year. But this is being recorded on the Wednesday before. In fact, I'm probably releasing it maybe early. Yeah, so you can hear this on Thanksgiving. It'll already be released, and that's kind of the point. But, I always do Brave the Wild on Thanksgiving. That's the hockey show. It's just kind of a fun tradition in the mornings, usually. Just kind of get up, get ready a little bit, and then do Brave the Wild. But I think I've made enough of a point here today. I hope you didn't mind me delving into the mysteries of the Roanoke colony. Pretty cool. And I'll probably have another episode, maybe after some deeper research, put some more stuff together, and all of that. It's absolutely fascinating. Have more to say than just kind of looking at stuff as I go, but kind of put something together, maybe a bigger episode one of these days, or even a series on stuff like this. Otherwise, we'll bring it up from time to time on Thanksgivings. Just like every year, you got to talk about 1620, at least a little bit into 1621, which was the actual first Thanksgiving, because 1620 it was, it was too early for that, unfortunately. They just weren't ready to go. With that said, though, thank you again, Lord, for a productive year. Thank you, Lord, for for being safe. Thank you, Lord, for all of that. Just be thankful for the roof over your head and the fact that we are in a free country and that we have a president-elect that's going to help guide this country in a better direction than it's been guided the last 4 years. That's for darn sure. With that, I talked about how to do your voice. So you can pull up your smart device if you want to, or even record it on your laptop or desktop, whatever. Audio submission, basically. Any type of call-in, whether it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, or even 20 minutes, something like that. If you want to do something big, really want to go into something, or be a live guest with me. Well, like not live, like live, but do record a podcast with me over Skype or something along those lines. You could be my guest and talk about God knows what. But otherwise, to do the audio submission, record your call, or whatever you want to call it, audio submission. And then when you're done saving it, send it to paladinolive@yahoo.com, paladinolive@yahoo.com. And I will then convert it into an MP3 file thanks to cloudconvert.com. So I really appreciate what that website does in so many ways. I don't think there's anything in the mailbag. Maybe I'll give it a quick check just to be absolutely sure. apologize for the delay here. The Instagram rarely gets any comments, maybe some likes. Freedom of thought. Yep, so now the Facebook page, facebook.com/freedom of thought. Oh, yeah, I think there's a little bit of comments, mostly likes, though, and I do appreciate those. There was, a big red, tsunami. Last month, with Kamala Harris standing on the beach, it's just kind of obviously, edited, whatever. Last month, she mocked God and told Christians they were at the wrong rally. This month, God had the final say in America. Yep. Something got taken away. I don't know what the heck that is. Okay, it was the lady where... Why'd they take it out? That's Facebook for you. Well, it's still there from Instagram. I want my daughter to have the right to abortion. Yeah. And it's think about what she's saying. I want my daughter to have the right to abortion. It's just unbelievable. It's stupid. I don't understand why they took it away. So stupid. Why would they do that? They're saying it's false. Screw you, Facebook. That is nonsense. It's not false. She held it. Maybe they're saying it was altered. But even if, who knows? That's stupid. Yeah, but that's Facebook for you, though. Anything... Yep, they took it away from there, too. Okay, now I can see it. I want my daughter to have the right to abortion that I didn't have. So what are the fact checkers saying? That it's just false? The information's not available. Oh. Interesting. Well, yeah. So, who knows? Well, if it's true, it's pretty ridiculous. That was the whole point. So, my apologies to that. I hope you enjoyed that little history lesson going way, 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 way back to 1585. Pretty fascinating stuff. What did you think? Maybe let me know on the Facebook page, the Instagram, the email address, palladinolive@gmail.com. You could try Yahoo, but that doesn't seem to be working so well. It's palladinolive@gmail.com. Let me know what you think, and if you'd like to be a guest on the show, tell me some of your stories, some of your mysterious adventures. It would be fantastic if you could do that. What did you think, though, delving that far back into the past? I mean, that was enjoyable for me. I hope it was enjoyable for you. A little background music thrown in there as well. Hopefully that was pretty cool. Hopefully you didn't mind that, because it's, it's wow, we're going way back in the day, and fascinating stuff. And, just kind of an interesting look at, you could say Thanksgiving and the pre-Thanksgiving era. That's basically a generation plus before the Pilgrims. You could say that could have even been their grandparents. I mean, think about that. That's how far back we're talking. So, love that. Again, we'll probably be delving deeper into AI and other fascinating, mysterious adventures along the way. But would like to hear adventures from you, even if it's just an email or an audio submission. Basically, what that is you record yourself, with the audio file. Basically, send it to me. And tell me your story. Otherwise, again, be a guest on the show at some point in the not-too-distant future. I think it'd be awesome, and maybe get some high-profile guests on as well. I mean, L.A. Marzulli would be like a dream come true. One of the guys on Blurry Creatures would be fantastic. Nate or Luke. I mean, wouldn't that be cool? How about the Appalachia Intelligence? Those guys are awesome. Really cool as well. So they don't need my help. I could use theirs. That would be great. But maybe, I don't know, maybe we can all help each other someday as this show can grow as well. So, and I need your help. If you want this show to grow, I need your help. Share it around. And, hey, be a guest on the show. Your being a guest on this show would potentially make it more interesting than me just flapping my gums. So that's just kind of a fact. That's just kind of how it goes. So we'd love to hear your stories. Please bring them to this show if humanly possible. And I need to be better about being available as well. That's one thing that needs to be a part of things. But if I can get back down to one job, there's a possibility. So then we could work out a schedule for somebody at some point, and that would be amazing. With that said, happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas as we're heading into the Christmas season once again. Already got the tree lit up. It's flickering right in front of me. Unfortunately, it's not a real tree, but at least it's easy to set up for an apartment and everything. So that's just kind of how things go. Hope you have yourself a wonderful Thanksgiving, and obviously kind of early Christmas season is already kind of upon us, because you know how all of us are. We love our Christmas lights, at least most of us. With that said, thank you again so much for listening, and check out the show description to see where to get to the Instagram, the Facebook page, the Twitter account. Interact with me. Please interact with me. Would love to meet you one way or another. It'd be fantastic. Thank you again so much for listening, sharing the show, and passing it on. Word of mouth as well is greatly appreciated. Of course, reviews are greatly appreciated. There is a YouTube, which is very fledgling. If you could join that as well. Simply subscribing and clicking like. It doesn't cost you a penny. And I don't know, it only takes a second, but hey, if you take the time to do that, I can't thank you enough. With that said, I've flapped my gums enough. Happy Thanksgiving. And, well, join me on the next adventure, because it's coming soon.